I'm at 5280 Ponce Lane in Cincinnati, Ohio. This is Covedale, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that may be of concern to the buyer. The access point is actually the toilet's been removed in the first floor bathroom. And so we're going through there. There's no clean out in the line as it goes down through the floor. I did call for a map from the sewer department, and so it'll show that the sanitary main is in on this side of the street, and it looks like the tap basically goes down the driveway. And so the line in here is cast iron, and so we have a few turns to go through before we even get through the floors. And so we have to try to get it to turn here. Sometimes it's hard because the cast iron is like sandpaper. It's really rough. And so there we go. So we're going to have going at an angle here, and then it should drop off again. So we're hoping we can get this to go all the way down through. I believe I am finally vertical or horizontal. We just need to see if we can get through it. So there's a little bit of buildup here at the base, but that's nothing to be concerned about. It's normal because of how it's sitting. Cast iron is really hard to tell. Basically the life expectancy of it is pretty hard to gauge, just because it does rust, and so you don't know how thin or thick the pipe walls are. So what we're looking for here is just any obvious structural issues, any holes in the line, things like that. This looks wide open as far as it's keeping shape. A lot of times you'll see a lot of channeling along the bottom. This all looks pretty good as far as it's holding shape well. This looks like it's in pretty good shape. I have a little bit of a belly here, but you can see that the water level is barely above the camera lens, so this is not a concern. There's very, very little water. The camera lens is only about a half an inch off the bottom of the pipe, and so it's not a lot of water. It's pretty normal to have little spots like that, especially on the interior where there is the line's usually a little bit flatter, just because it's real shallow. Hoping we can keep going. The line's already getting pretty hard to push through because of all the turns, but thinking I might be able to see the tie-in up here on the top. I might be able to kind of locate that spot here at 4 feet. I believe we should be heading straight towards the main at this point. And there we go. We are out of the house. You can see the transition. We are going from cast iron into clay, into 6-inch clay. This is a normal pipe material for a house of this age. Use a lot of clay. And clay is a good material. It doesn't rust or anything, so the one major thing that we see with clay is we do have some, biggest thing we see is root intrusion. Because if you can tell, there's sections are only about 3 foot long, so there's just a lot of lot of opportunity at the connections where the packing will break down and allow in a little bit of roots. But so far in this case, I haven't seen anything. There's a tie-in to the right on here that we're sitting in front of. And then it looks like another one here off to the left. And so those are, I think, the exterior drains. And that was just a little bit of, we just went past, that was some calcite or mineral deposits getting through. That happens too in these connections. You'll have a little bit of, you know, groundwater getting through, and so the minerals will kind of build up at, you know, as it comes through. And so bit of a belly here. Hopefully we can see better on the pullback, but you can see that there's just a little bit of water there. Again, it was a very, very slight belly. Nothing of any real concern. Just a little tiny belly. It's pretty normal. It's probably been there since the line was installed. A lot of times when they backfill on top of these, they'll make sink a little bit. I mean, you know, half an inch of water in a 6-inch diameter pipe is no real concern. Here's a few more. This actually looks like it might have been, it's either some calcite or some mineral deposits or some maybe a little bit of roots, but if it is, they are not active. You can see by the coating around them. Just build up. So it's a little tiny bit of roots, but nothing of any concern. These things can be taken care of with with a chemical treatment or something. Okay, and so now we're getting out towards the main, it looks like, and this looks like could be some roots also, but again, they look coated like they're inactive, but they are kind of building a pretty big curtain at this connection. So as we go, I believe right in front of me is the connection to the main, but we may have to turn some water on and see if we can get a little jump over this. Go. I think we're diving now towards the main, so as I pull back, I will make a note of a few of these things. Oh, great. This is forcing me over to the wrong side of the pipe here. That's a very, very small offset that's basically there from where they rotated the pipe, and they were turning down the line to get deeper. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner that 14% grade. Minimum is about 1%. They want about 1 foot of drop for every 100 feet of pipe. It's, you know, it's an eighth of an inch per foot, so it's actually like 1 foot drop for every 96 feet. But this, you know, 14 to 20% drop. As they did that back then, they would use the connections, because they were so short, they would roll the pipe down. And so because we've gone through so many turns, that it's actually forcing my camera over, just by the happenstance of the way this is laid out. It's forcing my camera to hit right up against that little lip, and without being able to get my camera, or my getting the force behind it, it doesn't want to pop over that. So I'm going to pause the video for a second. I'm going to go locate exactly where this is, because I believe I'm only within a couple feet of the main, which if I'm at the sidewalk and I'm only 2 or 3 feet from the main, then we could basically see down into the connection, and at that point any structural issues would be the responsibility of the Metropolitan Sewer District. So again, I'm going to pause the video here and locate exactly where we are.
Should I leave the water running?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, we got some water running. I'm going to see if it'll make the turn, but I'm not real. I wouldn't be surprised if it just doesn't make it because of the way the turn is angled. But we are well within 10 feet of the main, and so we can see at least that it's not. We're 82 feet out. We are within 10 feet of the main. We're like, I don't know, maybe 7 feet away from the main, from where it taps in right here. And it drops off pretty good. So if there is anything past this point, it wouldn't be the responsibility of the homeowner. You can see the build up on the inside of the turn there. And so I'm going to try to get a little bit better running start, but you can see it just forces my camera over to the side where it won't jump that little bit of a lip. Obviously the water doesn't have any problem making that turn, but it's forcing my camera over to the side. So, but the line looks good structurally. Have a little bit of root intrusion. It doesn't look active, and I don't see any really close trees. But it could be a good idea to go ahead and get this cleaned. Mainly this one right here at 77 feet. Just because there's curtains on both sides. It looks like old root intrusion that is kind of gelled over. And so it may be, it's kind of an option if you want to have it cleaned. But you would probably need to put access in either in the basement or have a clean out cut in. I think that would be a good idea to have a clean out cut into the vertical line in the basement just to get access to this line. I don't believe these are active roots here like I mentioned, but it would be a good idea to be able to at least get them cleaned if necessary. You can see the flow lines going right through the middle, and usually like with active roots you'd see a bunch of like finger roots sticking out that would possibly catch stuff, and in this case you don't see a whole lot of that. You kind of see like glaze over it. But again, it might not be a bad, you'd have to have better access, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to get this cleaned. So there's a little bit more at 73 feet. Let's see here. So the line itself, structurally, again, looks really good. It's really held its shape. I don't see any kind of radial cracks, and even those where you see the little joint kind of moved around a little bit, that was done in the beginning when they first put the line in, so that they could, turn the line down a little bit. And so I'm going to actually push through this. We're going to turn the water back off. Get back out of this, and then we're going to turn the water back off, and that way let it drain down a little bit, so we can see on the way back we're adding water to the low spots. Give that a second so it can drain down, and then we'll should drain down enough to slow that down. But let's see that there's a little bit of a belly here. Let's see, about 69 feet. We should be able to see here above it, so we can see past it all, just like that. So we know we could see at least those like 4 feet. We can see that, and you can see flashes as we pull back through that. So that is a very minor belly. 63 to about, so 64 to 68 feet approximately. So line is still kind of running. But as you can see, with the water still running and everything, that the the line is in good structural condition. You just have some of that stuff that's coming through at the joints, but that is very minimal, minor, and I don't think that those are active roots or anything. So. We are back in the cast iron. And again, the cast iron all looked really good also. I'm actually going to stop here for a second and locate where this is so we can kind of look to see if there used to be a clean out here. So I'm going to pause the video real quick and see where that is. Okay, this is in the garage right before it exits, goes out. There is no access there. We don't see a clean out. There probably used to be one, but it's been sealed over. You could probably find it with a metal detector actually, but you'd have to chip out the concrete to get to it. Just to get to the top, to the cap. I'm sure it's underneath there. Again, with the cast iron, I just want to mention that because cast iron is so rough, to not use any wet wipes. It is more prone to soft clogs, which are like excessive toilet paper, and wet wipes can compound the issue. Even if they say that they are flushable, they should not be flushed. They will catch, and because toilet paper breaks down and disintegrates, it's designed to do that. With the wet wipes, they do not do that, and so what happens is they can catch and build up behind it, causing a soft clog and backing the line up. So just want to steer clear of that. But the line itself looks really good. Like I said, it looks really good structurally. You have that little bit of intrusion. Now right now we're vertical, so that's why the line is getting the water drops down in front of the camera. So as we're coming up through the stack, the water can run down onto the camera lens. Alright. And there we go. We're all the way back out. So again, we made it out to 82 feet, which is within a few feet of the main. It is off the property. Any structural issues beyond that point, or even at that point, is the responsibility of most Metropolitan Sewer District. We just could not get the camera to go that last few feet because of all the turns in the line. The cast iron on the inside looked great. It's fully functional. Haven't shown any signs of backup or structural issues at the time of inspection. And the clay looks good structurally. There's a couple spots. I believe the main one is at about 77 feet where you have some curtains that looks like old root intrusion that is no longer active, but may be a good idea to have that removed, just in case, some of them are still slightly active or something. We mentioned that gelling over of the roots. A lot of times when they're active, they obviously are still growing, so they don't just get an edge on them. You could also put down a chemical treatment called Root X and try to just put that through there. But you really don't know if that is going to do anything. Obviously, if the roots are no longer moving or growing, it doesn't mean a whole lot. But the line is open and flowing right now, so there's no immediate action needed. But may be a good idea to have a cleaning done, and I also am recommending that there'd be a clean out installed in the stack in the rear of the center of the basement, just to get access, or uncover the clean out there in the garage, and I'll put like a piece of tape or something down there just to kind of let somebody know approximately where that is. But again, line is open and flowing, no structural issues at all, and so that'll end the inspection at 5280 Ponce Lane in Cincinnati, Ohio.